What's up, YouTube fam? We got a movie review coming at you today, and today we're going to be reviewing Apple TV Plus's The Banker. Now, this movie was originally going to be released in December, and there was a little bit of controversy surrounding it. Not more or less the movie, but the co-producer, who in fact is the actual son of one of the characters who's portrayed in this movie. So it was halted for a little bit, but ultimately releasing March 20th. So it's out now, Apple Plus TV, for anybody who subscribes to that streaming service. And this is actually was going to be one of their debut films on the initial launch of the service. But now it is out, and I love this movie. And I think I loved it because it did a lot for me. And when I say it did a lot for me, it did a lot for me as an African American, because it tells a story of just two African American men who wanted to follow and pursue their American dream. So this movie did take place in the 1960s. Start out in California, ended up in Texas, the deep south of Texas. We know in the 1960s it was one of the, racism is at an all-time high, and especially in the South, it just, when it comes down to trying to sustain equality for African Americans, it just wasn't a thing back then. There was always 10 extra loops that, regardless of what it was, that African Americans always had to endure for their own civil rights. But nonetheless, this movie does follow Bernard Garrett, who's played by Anthony Mackie, and Joe Morris, who's played by Samuel L. Jackson. Don't you love the two of these together? Like, this period. And their dynamic is everything you think it would be. Just absolutely fantastic. So, these two guys, they had this idea of wanting to be bankers. Very successful in California. However, Bernard Garrett, who's from Texas, also had this idea that just wasn't enough. With a little bit of an edge of wanting to make his dad proud, and just that fiery ambition that the two of these gentlemen have, and even with reserves as much as they had about this, they said they wanted to not only be successful in California, but they wanted to go back to Texas and own real estate there. And that just wasn't enough, because it wasn't just any real estate. It was real estate within the white communities. So, they really came up with this really crazy and risky plan in doing so by actually putting a white man as the front of their business. That would make the people who use this bank would think that a white man was running it, so it would keep the white people continuously banking at these banks. However, the action was to actually be owned by a black person and actually provide relief and opportunity and just new possibilities for the African American community by helping them attain loans and such that they were never able to be approved for. Period. It's heroicism at its finest, because it's two guys who did, that took this risky task that ultimately will put them in, public scrutiny, especially with like the government as well, of doing such in order to give back, to give their people opportunity and chances. So that's the gist of the movie. You definitely want to check it out. It's about 2 hours long. But it's so well paced. The characters are good. And as serious as and sensitive as this time period was, it was really complemented by a really comedic. We're talking about Samuel L. Jackson and Anthony Mackie. You knew they were going to unloose a little bit, and their personalities just flourish through this as well. Nia Long is also in this movie and does an amazing job. And Nicholas Hoult is also another person in this movie. I think did a phenomenal job as well too. So the good thing about this movie is that not only were there like fantastic jobs in the acting and a good message and story being told, it educated to something that's so relevant right now. And not only just that as well too, like when you're talking about real estate, there's a lot of mathematics involved, and the fact that like even me, who I think has a a proficient mathematical background, some of these numbers were floating over my head, and it doesn't feel overbearing. But even if it does feel overbearing to you, it's an educational thing that really teaches you why progress in the story. And it's teach you that side of things. It's teach you how big of an impact this can, these type of things can do to the community. It's a lot that's going on in this movie that just, at some point, this could all go horribly wrong, because it could just be so much historical knowledge of a story that a lot of people never heard of, with so much math, and just like you just get lost in it. However, this movie doesn't. It just all is pieced together. It flows together. It tells the story. It teaches you. It educates you. It gives you hope, because it gives you that hope of you wanting to be continuous and ambitious of chasing your American dream, and seeing that there was heroes that was doing such, giving back to the community years ago. And again, it's so relevant now, because with certain thing that goes on that may prevent you and anybody from chasing your dreams. This is that type of movie that gives you that courage to say, whenever you have a goal for something, just continue doing it, period. And of course, this is based on a true story, and you can read about it and see how this all unfolded at the end. But at the same time, it provides a true beacon of hope for its viewers, especially the African American community. So I love this movie. I really, really did. I can't stress enough. Samuel is he's ludicrous. But I love the guy. And the two of them, their dynamic is so well put together. But yeah, definitely check this out. And especially right now, you're thinking like, where am I going to catch my next movie with everything going on in the world? Apple TV definitely delivered with this one right here, and there's more to come on that streaming service. So if you're not subscribed, you definitely might want to check that out now, because this is only the beginning of a slate of good things to come from there. But again, this is The Banker, and I hope you guys like this review. Let me know in the comments what you think, if you either viewed it already or going to view it, or have any questions and so forth. But until then, catch you next time.